Hello friends and welcome to An Abundance of Books. My name is Julia and today we're doing a tag. It's been a hot minute, but it felt appropriate to do one now. I just finished reading I Kissed Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. This is not a review of this book. Come back for my wrap up if you're interested. But this did heavily feature a High School Musical production. They were doing Phantom, and it reminded me of one of the tags that I've always wanted to do, the musical theater book tag. The version that I'll be doing today was by Maddie from Book Browsing Blog. I will link them down below, but I think that they were doing it based off of someone else's. Have fun down that rabbit hole. But there are 10 or 11 prompts that are all based off of musicals. I think I know almost all of them, so you'll get to hear my beautiful interpretations of some of these. Each prompt is a musical and then a specific song from that musical. So the first one is from Hamilton and it is Satisfied, I will never be satisfied. Is it already super cringy? Yes. So for this prompt you are going to be doing a book that had an unsatisfying ending or a book that needs a sequel. I have two answers for this. The first is Only Human by Sylvain Neuvel. This is the third book in the Themis Files trilogy. The first one, Sleeping Giants, is amazing, incredible. The second one, arguably better than the first, but like also incredible. The first one has like equally valid but different merit. And then the third one, everyone agrees, totally went off the rails, was not a good conclusion to something that had a really strong momentum to it. But I wanted to mention a second book because I saw weird similarities between that and The Kiss Quotient. First cover, blue, really amazing start. Everyone loves it, really excited for the series. Second book, arguably better than the first, yellow, brings on some new characters that you grow to love. And then third book, red, big disappointment for the series. This is still an incredible book. This is like not a good book no matter what. Romances can also be read as standalones. But yeah, the heart principle was not what my fellow Helen Hoang lovers were hoping for. But yeah, I just wanted to mention it because I thought that was super weird. I didn't pull out all the books ahead of time, so we're going to be destroying my bookshelves today. Let's just put them back sort of where they belong and we'll worry about it later. The next one is a musical that I actually don't know. I know of it, but it's Everybody's Talking About Jamie and the song Everybody's Talking About Jamie. What is a really hyped book that you want to read only because of the hype? This was an easy answer for me. It is The Final Empire, the first book in the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. Truly, I have no interest in a high fantasy epic like this, but all of my non-bookish friends have read it and have loved it. And I feel like if I'm gonna read 100 books in a year, I can let it go and let one of them be this. I am curious, not about what the story is, like I truly have no interest in this, but I am curious to see if I will like it. Brandy Sandy's popular for a reason. I have no doubt in his ability, just in my ability to enjoy things. Prompt 3 is from Anastasia. It is Journey to the Past. I'm gonna hate editing this, but the prompt is name a book that features flashbacks or developed backstories. I thought this was a really interesting question, and I really like my answer, The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson, because I was just reminded that this heavily features one of the characters. I want to say her name is Anna, but don't quote me on that. A majority of the book is her backstory. Growing up, her parents lived on like this farm that had boarders coming in and out. Boarders like renters, not borders like country divides. And then she goes on a class trip to Europe at one point. Her whole backstory is super fleshed out, super developed, ties back in interesting ways. It was just a really compelling thing to read. For something where like the main plotline is also super interesting, it's funny that the backstory bits are what have stuck with me. I don't know, when did I read it? At least a year ago, maybe 2. Question 4 is from Be More Chill, and it is Michael in the bathroom by himself. If you were escaping a party by hiding in the bathroom, what book would you take with you? This one, I am sorry, but there is a correct answer, which is Heartstopper by Oseman. This works in a multitude of ways. If you are hiding in the bathroom at a party, you want something comforting to just like give you a breather. This is sunshine and rainbows and loveliness. Also, if you're hiding in the bathroom but you want people to just think you were having a really bad poop, you can finish this super quick. It's a graphic novel. I read this for a vlog and I timed myself. What was it, 37 minutes? So that's a really bad poop. But you could spin it if you're a good enough actor. And it's just one of the most quality things that you will ever read. It's a boy meets boy love story. I'm sure I do not need to hype up Heartstopper. You have probably been hearing about it a lot recently, but this is what I would read hiding in the bathroom. Question 5 is from 6, which is, I cannot tell you how much of a disappointment. The prompt is ex-wives. Nope, you won't get the note. Ex-wives. I know I'm not hitting those notes, but we have to move on. Name a book that is a twist or a retelling of a well-known story. And if you've watched my channel before, you have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to say. It is Anna K by Jenny Lee. I feel like I recommend this book too much, but I'm not going to stop. This is a modern-day Korean-American YA retelling of Anna Karenina, and it is so much fun. It's very much rich people drama, Gossip Girl vibes. It's an ensemble cast, you get a bunch of perspectives from it. I just think it's kind of a perfect book. And it follows Anna Karenina closely enough without being beat for beat, which I appreciate. I am picky about retellings. I have read a good number of retellings, but that's probably one of the only ones that I actually enjoyed. Then, are you ready to be even more upset? Prompt 6 is from the last 5 years. Make it make sense. And the prompt is still hurting. What book hurt you and has stuck with you ever since? This is an interesting one because a lot of books hurt me. But I think I've got to go with the queen herself, Miss Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. There are a lot of parts in this that are sad, but there is one very specific part that I think of. How can I say it in a non-spoilery way? I don't think there's like a purely without spoiler way of saying it, but something happens with Evelyn's kid that broke me a little bit, and I think about it a lot. But in general, this book will hurt you. It will make you want to throw it across the room. It is a beautiful story of a Hollywood starlet and just following her life over the past 70 years or something, and it's perfect and wonderful, and of course no one needs me to pitch Evelyn Hugo. The next prompt is from Come From Away, and it's Me and the Sky. Pick a book that features your dream job, real or fantastical. So I cheated a little bit with this one because I really don't have a dream job. My dream job is to be retired, so I didn't want to pick a book with that. Can't even think of a book that's about being retired. So what I went with instead was what I think is the most interesting job. Not a job that I would like to have. Scythe, from Scythe by Neal Shusterman. The people who are responsible for gleaning, which is killing people to keep the population under control. I just think that the discussions in this book about morality and how do you decide who is gonna die, it's something that I'm super interested in, and the book also has a bit of a point about like the person best fit to rule is someone who doesn't want to rule, which may be me. So if I was in the Scythe universe, there's a chance I could be a Scythe. I do not want this, let me reiterate. I have done no crimes. The next prompt is from Newsies, and it's Santa Fe. And he just says it a bunch of ways. Santa Fe. What fictional place would you love to visit? I had to read the book for a bit so I could figure out what it's actually called. It's called Palais de Rêve from The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. This is the palace, no, it's not a palace, it's a hotel that Sylvain Montagnier-Alcré owns, set in 1889 Paris, and it is just the most gorgeous magical hotel that you've ever seen. It is so expansive, it is so grand. There's the garden that Tristan makes and the library where they all hang out. The Palais de Rêve is really immersive and like such an important part of this book, and I just want to see it. We're just talking about all my hits today. I feel like I don't have to pitch The Gilded Wolves again, but I will. It is a heist novel. They are trying to get Severin's name restored as the head of his house. He's been accused of doing something and they're trying to prove that he didn't do it. And it's just the perfect heist book. The setup and payoff in here is absolutely perfect. However, the sequels are not. But this can be read as a standalone. Next, from Waitress, I actually don't know this song. I know broadly of Waitress, but like I've never seen it or anything, and it's When He Sees Me. What book did you fall in love with the second you saw the cover? This book definitely doesn't feel like the vibe of what Maddie would have been expecting when they came up with the prompts, but it's true for me. It is Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon, specifically these special editions, because I had heard about Ruby Dixon and Ice Planet Barbarians before, but the re-release of these covers made me actually want to read it. Like, this is the original thing. I have zero interest in this. But this, yes, I will pay $16 for it. Wow, that's pretty good. And yes, I will buy the sequel, which is equally and differently gorgeous. And yes, I will pre-order the third one, which comes out in July. I also recently did a video on cover design that I will link above and below, but I should look up Rita Frangi and Kelly Wagner because they are doing excellent work. Next from Dear Evan Hansen is Disappear, Disappear. It's a good song, but when you sing it like that, it sounds really dumb. The prompt is hype an underrated backlist book, which I am very happy that I can now talk about. Final Girls by Riley Sager. This is his first book as Riley Sager. I know it's pen name, whatever. Following a final girl who was in a cottage with her friends and they all got brutally murdered, and she only has vague memories of that night, and she becomes friends with another final girl, and drama and dramatics ensue. I think it's really good. I know a lot of people don't enjoy Riley Sager's old stuff, minus Survive the Night. We don't talk about Survive the Night, but I think that this is probably his strongest book next to Lock Every Door. It's brutal and gory, but also the mystery is interesting. I think the characterization isn't great, but like, he's never been good at that. But yeah, I would highly recommend Final Girls, even if some of the Riley Sager doesn't necessarily work for you. Then we have from Legally Blonde, What You Want, which is funny because every time I saw it, I kept thinking of What You Want and being like, that's not in Legally Blonde. No, What You Want. And it is what do you want to see more of in books, either in tropes or representation, anything that you fancy. Hello, sir. Do you want to be in the video? This is what I want more of in books. More of this face. You want to just lie under the tripod? That's good. But I would like to use this opportunity to once again ask for recommendations for the trope that I am calling The One That Got Away. It's halfway between Friends to Lovers and Second Chance. My example of this is Count Your Lucky Stars by Alexandria Bellefleur. These girls were best friends in high school, kissed one time, and haven't been able to stop thinking about each other for the past 15 years or whatever. So that's what I want. I don't want it to be like they were fully together or divorced or whatever and then got back together, and I don't like them being friends actively in each other's lives for years. It's The One That Got Away. If there's something else I should be calling it, please let me know, but give me all of your recommendations. I promise I will read it. If you want me to read a book, just lie to me and I'll read it. And then that brings us to the final question, a bonus question. Pick your favorite musical and recommend a book that reminds you of it. I'm gonna get around that by recommending I Kiss Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. This whole thing was inspired by. They are doing Phantom in here, but there's lots of other fun musical references. And I really enjoyed this book. Shara has disappeared, and right before she kissed 3 people. And those 3 people have now teamed up and they're on like some sort of scavenger hunt to figure out what happened to Shara Wheeler. It's a really fun time. It is very reminiscent of the rom-coms of the 2000s, and I would recommend it, especially if you like Casey McQuiston's other stuff. This is their YA debut. But I think if you like their other stuff, you're definitely gonna like this. That is it for the tag though. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed it. I just want an excuse to talk about musicals whenever I can. So thank you also to Maddie for enabling me to do so. Comment down below what your favorite musical is because I'm very curious. Oh, actually, can I redo the bonus question? Because what is my favorite musical of all time, or what is the best musical of all time? I think we can all agree that it's Cats. And I have Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats by T.S. Eliot, which is what Cats is based off of. Like, they're just poems that have been set to music. I have a Gumby cat in mind. Her name is Jenny Any Dots. Her coat is of the tabby kind with tiger stripes and leopard spots. All day she sits upon the stair, or on the steps, or on the mat. She sits and sits and sits and sits, and that's what makes a Gumby cat. People who don't know cats are probably horrified right now, but yeah, that's what cats is. If you're interested in some weird old poetry with some questionable language, this is for you. But anyway, not getting distracted, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're having a lovely day. Tell me what your favorite musical is, because I'm nosy, and I will see you very soon in another video. Bye.